Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Conrad. That is Jack, and this is the 45. We were here for our Week 10 preview. We've got Liverpool, Spurs, Burnley, Chelsea, and Norwich, Man United. But first, a look back at our terrible performance thus far. Mine. You're doing one game over 500. I am atrocious this season. And you figured we could have gotten one right out of the one match that we picked last weekend, which was Arsenal, Sheffield United. Let's just move on.
No. An upset is what it was, but we were not risky enough. Once upon a time, I would have said Sheffield United would win, but now I'm scared.
And we knew how desperate Sheffield were going to be for those points, given Arsenal's form, their leakiness, and what they've got coming up. Sheffield, what they've got coming up, and how vital those points are, given the tough run they've got coming up, but couldn't do it. Anyhow, Liverpool home to Spurs. Spurs will take the 210-mile trek from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London up to the Great Northwest on the Mersey River, where they will visit Anfield, which we also visited. This is our last stop on our England tour last Christmas, where we saw Rafa and Newcastle come and lose to a very spirited post-Christmas Liverpool side. A lot of fun. I expect that atmosphere to be bonkers.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a big match, and it's going to be loud.
And these are the sides that obviously played in the Champions League final last year. Liverpool came out on top on that night 2-0. And since then, it's been a tale of success for Liverpool and Spurs.
And they're in the Champions League, but their results just haven't been there. 15 matches played, Liverpool, 13 for Spurs. But look at the wins taken from that time. 80% win rate versus a 30-ish 1% win rate.
Very, very different stats there. Liverpool obviously means only 3 games where they have failed to win. A big support of that was their first 8 games in the league, where they won all 8 of them. The thing that's surprising about that is the allowed goals for Liverpool. They've allowed a lot more goals than I would have expected them to, because obviously they haven't had Alisson for a while, but those 16 goals seems like it's not too far off of Spurs. And Spurs obviously had that 7-goal trouncing against Bayern Munich.
Bad. Well, and the interesting thing with Spurs is they are coming off of that 5-0 trouncing in their own to their own advantage in the midweek Champions League matches, but that still only gives them a +2 goal differential in all matches played. Liverpool, obviously, with the 2 extra matches, one being the Community Shield loss in penalties to City, and then the penalty win to Chelsea in the UEFA Super Cup. But I think this is good medicine for Spurs to come off of a 5-0 win, and next up they are heading to Anfield, and their fans, I am assuming these are fans, these are supporters.
A little nervous is the best way to describe it.
The mouse meme is, I think, one of your personal favorites. And then the I am ready to get hurt again, courtesy of Beck's Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
GHFC. In all honesty, I don't think that they should be too scared, because Liverpool have had a lack of fight almost against the big sides. They've been a little afraid to go attack them the way they do against the minnows of the Premier League. And we saw that away at Manchester United, that talent-wise and form-wise, every reason Liverpool should have had to win that game they did not bring, and they ended up failing to come away with the 3 points. And that was a pretty bad result for them. It was a pretty bad performance from them by all sorts of imagination. And so Spurs and United fans were similarly concerned entering that game, but I think Spurs will do moderately all right. But it really depends on what Liverpool show up in terms of on the field and how well they can bring themselves coming off of a game against Genk away.
And to that end, TAA missed that for Liverpool due to illness. Andrew Robertson came off injured. Evidently, he's going to be okay heading into this match. But the fullbacks were the key to United playing as well as they did defensively. They just they didn't allow those 2 guys to get forward, which is a lot of the key to Liverpool's attacking success. So I don't know if Spurs will be able to tap into that and figure that out. Again, I think Robertson is in. TAA may be healthy. But Harry Kane is a goal-scoring threat against Liverpool. He's scored. He's been involved in 7 goals in 9 league appearances against Liverpool, with 5 netted and 2 assists. Last year, he did not have much success. Don't know about Matip. He was a midweek miss after coming back healthy last week against United,
Yeah.
I think he was just probably getting rested.
Yeah, and interestingly enough about Kane's history, last year, if I'm remembering correctly, the Anfield fixture between these sides was really contentious in terms of penalty decisions late on in that game, and you had that. I mean, it might have been a year before that where Salah had a fantastic, just great footwork, great strength, and just powered one home with his right foot in the away end. And they'll want to try and continue their growth. Liverpool will want to, and they'll want to capitalize on a Spurs team that, although they're coming off of a good result, have been pretty bad in recent weeks. And I think that we will see this as a game where Liverpool should get 3 points and then want to kind of bounce back from a bit of a poor United result.
Given that, I've got it 2-1 to the red side. You've got it 3-1 to Liverpool. Neither of us giving Spurs much of a chance here, but again, Spurs have been as inconsistent and confusing a team since February, and certainly since these two faced off, as we showed in the Champions League final.
Exactly. I think Liverpool at home will be one of the deciding factors that they will be able to come out on top against Spurs.
Burnley and Chelsea, the 26th. This is at Turf Moor. Chelsea will make the 246-mile trek, one of the longer treks that the Premier League clubs have to make, from Stamford Bridge to Turf Moor. These teams have only played 10 times against one another, with Burnley only winning once. And that was away. They've never won at home against Chelsea. 3 draws, 6 wins to Chelsea. And I think a concern for Burnley, Chris Wood out, and he does a lot. He's a producer of a lot of goals for them.
Exactly. I mean, in the next slide, obviously, we'll see that Ashley Barnes could possibly return, but losing Chris Wood, he's been a lethal goal scorer this season. I think that that's been one of the big keys for them is they defend well, they're highly structured, they get goals and there are a few chances. They need a clinical goal scorer to do that. It's been Chris Wood. Ashley Barnes has the potential to do that, but I think that Chris Wood has been better throughout the season. And on the Chelsea side of things, Rudiger missing is obviously not a great thing, but they also have
They've dealt with him for a while now.
And they also have the added benefit of Pulisic really kind of beginning to step up and really improve, and he's showing a lot of potential in the last couple games.
He's been very bright, is what Lampard has said about him when he's come on, and the last 20, 30 minutes of matches. Question is, will it be enough for him to start? According to Satio 1984's very scientific poll on Twitter, 270 respondents, 89% of which said yes, Pulisic should start and will start.
You know what that is. That's very clear, defining evidence that he will start.
Or not get selected at all.
Exactly.
One or the other. I think that he's going to give him a shot here. Look, the Sean Dyche team's always tough to play. I don't see them scoring. I've got it 2-0 to Chelsea, which of course means Burnley are going to win. So don't take anything that I say seriously at this stage until I prove that I can actually get one of these right. You've got it 2-1, Chelsea over Burnley. You're better than I am at this.
I think that it's going to be interesting. Burnley aren't going to get blown out. Chelsea are playing really well recently. All the youth players are in some good form. They got a goal for Batshuayi off of the bench. I believe it was away at Ajax. Might have been at home. I forget where it was, but it was good win regardless. 1-0.
The assist from Pulisic.
Exactly, assist from Pulisic. And
late.
A late goal, late winner. And they'll be happy with that. And I think that Burnley will have a bit more rest, a bit more fresh than Chelsea are. And that's going to make it a tough result. I just think Chelsea have enough. Lampard's shown really great resilience, really good bouncing back from one of the worst results he could have possibly kicked off with, a 4-0 loss to United. And speaking of United, they have gone 2 very different directions in the last however many months it's been since the beginning of the season.
Norwich Man United, Carrow Road. United traveling 220 miles across the country due east to from Old Trafford to Carrow Road. Both these teams coming off of draws. The 0-0 draw for Norwich really has restored a lot of confidence in them defensively. Just getting that clean sheet was very vital for them. Versus United, obviously getting that vital home draw to Liverpool, as we talked about. But at the beginning of the season, if you'd have said that heading into week 10 that these two teams would have combined for 4 wins, 2 wins apiece, and a total of 17 points, 7-10 for United, they would have scored a total of 20 goals. There you go, 10 apiece in the league. Conceded a total of 30. This is not a surprise. as we talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
Norwich City ship a lot of goals. They've got a win over Chelsea. Obviously United, that was the only match they've scored more than 4 goals. And Norwich played them tough. One of them beat Man City, and it wasn't the other Manchester United or the other Manchester team. One drew against Liverpool, one lost to Newcastle, and then one lost to Aston Villa. You would not have ever given these results coming at the beginning of the season.
You would have seen a lot of
that was
green
a bad
on the right
loss.
side and a lot of red on the left side.
Yeah, I mean, the loss to Newcastle is head scratching, especially on the heels, right after the draw with Liverpool, and then the 1-0 mid-week win in the Europa League over Belgrade, where they won 1-0.
Yeah, that was another scrapey result. They've had a lot of those recently. I think that's what makes this game such an intriguing one to call, because they're not going to have Pogba, as they've learned in recent days. They are also up against a Norwich team that's dealt with a lot of injuries recently. They're really trying to get their guys back into form, back playing. So it's going to be interesting to see how do they react to that, because it's the weaknesses of both sides are offset by the strengths of the other one. And so it's going to be interesting to see how both of them react. I think that United will score a couple goals. I also think Norwich are going to be able to capitalize on United's poor, I don't want to say poorest defense, because they've had one of the better defenses in the league, but
yeah, they haven't conceded much.
They also have failed to go do much forward, and I think that Norwich have a good chance to get the Manchester double, as we're dubbing it.
Martial will be back. But again, the Liam Canning tweet here that says it's illegal for Manchester United to score more than 1 goal. Because outside of that first match against Chelsea, they've scored 1 goal in every, or 1 or fewer goal in every single match in all competitions since then. To your point, Pogba out, De Gea good. Ben Godfrey will be healthy after coming off late against, who did they play last week? I'm totally blanking. Oh, Bournemouth, the 0-0 draw. And they had to drop 2 midfielders into the center of their defense, and they're not named Rodrigo or Fernandinho.
Yeah.
But again, they're hoping for that atmosphere to be like what it was. That's what Godfrey's calling for, because that's what really drove them to the result over City.
Exactly.
But can Norwich do the Manchester double? Which should be unheard of.
That is the big question.
Pull 6 of 9 points from the Manchester teams. And you seem to think so.
This is a dumb pick. Very dumb pick. But I think it also has a chance. Because think about it. It would be the perfect mirror, wouldn't it? You have a 3-2 win over Manchester City, 3-2 win over Manchester United, and you still get relegated. That'd just be the perfect story for Norwich City. I think that's what's going to happen. They just do not look good defensively, but they also look like they have enough crowd atmosphere to push them forward in these tough matches. United don't have a ton to keep them penned in. Even against City, they were able to be clinical with their chances. If Timo Pukki gets back into his goal-scoring form, he's fallen off a little bit. If he gets back into his goal-scoring form, they are clinical with what they've got, and they are somewhat defensively consistent like they were against Bournemouth. Why not? United are... You toss the dice for United with these recent games. And I think that...
They are absolutely Jekyll and Hyde team.
I think that... And you have a little bit less...
I got a draw.
Yeah.
I mean, a 1-1. I think Manchester's going to keep that 1 goal or fewer scored.
I think Norwich's defense is
bad
enough to offer them multiple goals.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't even know that either one of these picks are wise, but this season has been so unpredictable, and certainly that the Norwich City side and the Manchester United side have been big contributors to that. But here's something courtesy of PremierLeague.com in their notes. United have lost their last 2 Premier League matches against promoted side. Last year to Wolves and to Cardiff. So this is the 3rd consecutive match. They could go for, as they say, the hat trick for the first time since November 1960, losing to 3 recently promoted sides or newly promoted sides. So your prediction, just based on that, is looking pretty strong. But as we all know, this is an impossible season.
Oh yeah, it's been.
I'm sticking with that.
And the thing that's crazy about this, if I'm miraculously correct, United and Norwich would be tied on points at 10, which is crazy to think about.
And that would probably mean that they would potentially both be in the bottom. I mean, right now, United is only 2 points clear.
Yeah, exactly. They are,
and they'd be ahead on goal difference in theory.
You'd have serious questions being asked if that happens, Norwich would be buzzing. United would be confused how they're sitting so far down.
Yeah, I don't know that United can attack. I mean, it'll be interesting. I think Martial will be back, which means Rashford can kind of go back to his normal spot. But no Pogba means their midfield is still going to be a little bit strained in terms of moving the ball around, right? I think that's what really, you mentioned it, and we were talking about this in the pre-match, or excuse me, before show. What they did against Newcastle, right?
No ability to push forward. And against Newcastle in specific, Newcastle played a block of 5 and a block of 3, if I'm remembering correctly. And the issue was that in the midfield they had McTominay, Mata, and Fred. None of those 3 guys were incisive at all. They could not get once they finally managed to get a ball that broke past one line of pressure and was able to get past another, they always went backwards. They never made a pass to try and break down the defense. And that was down to a lack of creativity from their midfielders. And it was pointed out in the article in The Athletic that I read that Harry Maguire was more aggressive and able to push the ball forward at a better pace than McTominay, than Fred, than Mata. They don't have Pogba. He's the guy who really kind of breaks those lines for them.
Yep.
It's interesting to see.
Mata really plays more like a quick winger, even though he's not a winger. He plays well in the break. He doesn't play well in build-up. McTominay he's a great goal scorer, as we've seen. He can score some bangers from deep, but they've not. Maybe it's a chemistry thing. Maybe it's just not playing enough together as a side. I don't know. Because Pogba is so dominant when he's in there and so creative that everybody just defers to him and just kind of ball watches a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
it's interesting.
all right, well, we'll see what happens. I hope to not go 0 for 3 again. Not like it would matter. But I don't also see a 3-0. Picking draws is like just a stupid idea. Anyhow. All right. That'll do it for us, Week 10. We will be back with a review show sometime Sunday, Monday. Who knows when. Again, for Jack, Conrad, this has been The Footy 5. Please give us a like, a subscribe, follow us on Twitter @The Footy 5. Thank you all. Take care now.